Unamused by illusions of time. You will be the first to find, last one standing here in the line, before willing, not in mind, but inside there's a change of the heart. Maybe it's inherent too. Chaos means to improvise. Illusions of a social game, casting out, deepening the divide. We are not skin on wall. We are the few, the hunters. Every star, the heart burn. Unamused by illusions of time. We are not skin on wall. We are the few that does every star that burns. Unamused by illusions of time.
Hello. Full screen this. And ready to go.
Hey, brother.
How are you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing well. I just want to thank you for coming on here. And if you don't mind, could you kind of introduce yourself and your work? I've got your website pulled up here, the gpms.world, Global People's Monetary System. Can you tell us more about that, just as an introduction?
Yeah, sure, Hawkeye. before I do that, I wish to say I am what you could label as an ascended master. And essentially what this means is I'm connected directly to Prime Creator. And I'm upon the planet for a special purpose and a special mission. And part of this mission is GPMS, the Global People's Monetary System, and simplified law. So what it is the template for the new reality where humanity is very swiftly transitioning into. And it is a transitional step, let's say, to the old control of money upon every individual, to flip the tables and use money only as a good, unlimited tool so that humanity advances forward. So it's all divinely constructed to create the new reality for everyone to transition into. And what's occurring currently upon the planet is all part of a huge divine plan to advance humanity forward. And again, the GPMS world is the vehicle to collect the voice of all of the people upon the planet that want this and wish it. And as the voice is created, once we have reached a majority of the planet that wants this and has consented, signed up to it, then it's the majority of the people that makes it happen. So it serves, let's say, a very beautiful function for humanity to go forward out of the present enslavement system and the savagery and the tyranny, if you will, as well. So it's all constructed there for humanity. I am one of the guardians upon the planet to assure that it comes to fruition and along with others.
Well, that is directly in alignment with what we're trying to do here at Omniversal Media through the Beneath the Surface podcast. We're trying to bring light to things that are happening just below the surface of people's awareness. And so I'm honored to have you on here. And I wanted to mention that the GPMS.world from the start, just to kind of give people a context for what I wanted to talk with you about here today. Now I'm currently on the website, and if you go to the consent here, the individual consent link, you will see how you can also come into alignment with what Rick is trying to put together here. And the thing that is just prominent for me is that this isn't just the Omniversal Media that I've got, the GPMS that you've got. These aren't things that we're trying to put together. These are things that are already in existence, and they're fastly coming into fully fleshed out manifestations. And I think it's wonderful, especially when you're talking about the financial aspect of it, because currently the game is we have all of the money, and therefore we control the chessboard, so to speak. But what happens when the other side, let's say the light forces, come in and say, okay, you want to play chess, let's play chess. And then it really, when we all come together and unify, it turns into these, let's just call them the dark workers, if you will. They are actually playing checkers. And so it's kind of, it's really kind of ironic that we've got this whole world locked down into a system based on computerized numbers, essentially, and that strips just the value of the human spirit and heart away from and it takes our sovereignty away, all because of mind games that somebody came up with. And so just
Absolutely.
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was saying absolutely. This is the program, and each individual now is becoming aware that the unity changes the entire program as it was. And yes, also, I need to mention importantly with the simplified law aspect of GPMS, what we are doing right at this point, we're ready to put in a powerful decree, a proclamation by each one as they sign up to it. And essentially, what this decree proclamation is standing in the full unalienable rights. And these are what we call the divine uh, law, the God-given rights, if you will, the intrinsic rights that all of us have upon the planet. So this also, in turn, with the new society, it enforces this law as well by the people, and it's superior, it's supreme above any legal jurisdiction or any what is the proper word for it? Any legal systems upon the planet that's comprised by the government. So, having said this, we the people know the laws, and it's just the government's agenda and what have you to complicate everything as well, and to strip ones of all of these fundamental, universal, unalienable rights, what is occurring at this time. However, the higher divine perspective of what's occurring is that humanity has to be shown, that there's an actual force to strip them of their right so that they stand up to be able to take control of things upon the planet themselves and to advance the human society out of the present savagery and enslavement and totalitarianism and what have you, the tyranny. Now mention on the consent form there, no one actually signs it. You put in your information. You can sign it if you wish, but you can just draw a happy face or what have you. All we need to know is that it's actually you that's doing it. So it's not a contract. It is more or less a support. So it's like a petition. But when you have, a petition or a worldwide vote with the majority agreeing, nothing can stand against it. And, the way, let's say, the old paradigm separated ones by countries, race, religion, and what have you, the only way to break that separation and division is to worldwide do it with all of the people, and no individual country or government can stand against that. Neither can the banks. Nothing can compete with GPMS. It's all inclusive for all of the people. And, they have no choice here in the future. For the governments, for the most part, they must all step aside. And,
Exactly.
some of the banks could play a little bit of the distribution role in it. However, we don't even need them. When you look at this great awakening, what you're actually having is professionals in all walks of life, especially in the IT, in the financial sectors. So among the voice of the awakening, you have all of the professionalism that you need to operate and to take this system forward. So anyone looking on the website, you may say it's vague in its dynamics, in its logistics. But in reality, it does not need to be complex. You need to think outside of the box, because the box was there to complicate things and keep you in that, to keep you enslaved. This is the door to freedom. And it's so simple, the door to freedom.
Yes, and with us all coming together, I like to use the analogy of that was kind of revealed to me one morning. I stepped outside, I was watching the sunrise, and I realized that humanity coming together and all collectively waking up. When the sun rises on the horizon, it's there's this one star that you can see. And we often refer to it as the morning star. And it's going to be the brightest thing. I want people to go out and do this at sunrise. It's going to be the brightest thing that you can see, the morning star. So amidst all of this darkness, there's this morning star. But then as soon as the sun breaks the horizon, kind of like as soon as humanity wakes up, it's on the East Coast, it's just breaking the horizon. Even before it breaks the horizon, you can look straight across to the western horizon, and you can see that all of the rest of the stars have disappeared. The darkness has kind of rolled back.
Yes.
And as soon as the sun breaks the horizon, what happened to the night? It disappeared. It ran away. It's gone, because that's just how bright that light is. And shortly after it breaks the horizon, that morning star even gets it disappears, because there's a brighter light shining. And that's what I kind of view the consent form and all of that. When we come together on an energetic level, there is nothing to compete with it, because darkness retreats when it sees the light creeping towards it. It doesn't, it's almost as if the darkness does not even exist. All there is an absence of light, an absence of consciousness, an absence of a unified togetherness. And just, it's a really powerful allegory, especially if you keep this in mind and you go and just witness it at dawn one day. Just find you somewhere to go out and look and see what is really happening on an energetic, symbolic level in these times that we're in right now. Now I want to reference the initial post that it came out. When you put this post out, I reached out to you immediately and was like, would you please come on and share some of this in person so that people can hear your voice and receive the frequency and the codes contained in your makeup there. And you said, I'm just going to read briefly some of the parts of this post. The title of the post, I guess, would be Importance of Unity Worldwide on the Energetic Level. In these most glorious times, many have been empowered with a higher energetic that is directly affecting everything they do and others that they come into contact with. This is not by chance. In these great times, the strength in numbers by all of those energetically empowered is what creates the new times and destructs the old paradigm. It is inevitable and imminently happening, all capital letters, now. By physically uniting in groups with no fear and knowing your true power, capital T, power of authority. When not aggressive, you are accomplishing great feats, and these feats are being witnessed by you and others observing. The universal flow, the support of the divine is activated, and it is formidable, a formidable force that anything less than moral and ethical intent must dissolve, must step aside. As your unity exponentially grows, it becomes stronger and stronger, the impact it has on reality, and this is proven as you see police step away from large groups of peaceful protesters. You see the deeper effects also surfacing where police departments are resigning. Police are stepping away from their jobs and not carrying out orders to violate fundamental rights. Doctors and nurses walking out worldwide, refusing to violate the people. Military stepping away from following orders from governments, which include domestically inflicting bodily harm upon another. And the list goes on. It is inevitable what is here and what is happening. The majority are awake enough, moral and ethic, and this higher state of being cannot be suppressed nor overpowered. Much like I said in my analogy of the sun rising, it doesn't magically go back to to darkness. Even if it's a cloudy day, you can still tell that it's daytime, that it's not night. And that's what we're witnessing here collectively. And I'm just glad that there's a voice such as you and others putting this into terminology that we can read and we can see and we can hear, and kind of really tap into what we all intrinsically know within ourselves, whether we are being outspoken about it and articulating it in that manner or not. We all feel it. And can you give us some examples of what we can do beyond just, like, for instance, me bringing you on here and connecting with you, the group that I was just with prior to this meeting? How can we further unify together to amplify this energetic and kind of like override the current system, this dark matrix that we're all trapped in? Because my thing is not so much about rising against some opposing force, but rising above it and kind of overriding it, rendering it obsolete.
Well, thank you. And this is what we're doing with GPMS, if you will. So as we collect this voice, as we show people and create the awareness that you have this choice to create the new, it creates the dark governments out of existence when they're no longer supported. And this is what you're saying. We don't need to fight against an establishment for your rights. Your rights are contained within you. All we need to do is just unite and join together, and it creates the darkness and the governments, what have you, out of existence. Now, when you were reading what I had written there about the police cannot even stop this, a great example of that just occurred in Australia yesterday in Brisbane. I put up the post where the police tried to stop the protesters, but no way. They went right through their lines. And we've seen this time and time again in London and other places, Berlin, around the world. So what I'm speaking about in that post, the confirmations are already documented and the evidence is already out there in reality. And we're seeing it progress forward further and further every day. Australia is so important because energetics plays a big role into what's occurring. And when we look at Uluru as energetically believed to be the solar plexus of the sentient being Gaia, the planet, then you can see why right now that Australia is taking the lead role, the people, the human souls that are there in taking their power back. But it's not a taking their power back because they never really had this power. It's more an activating their power for the change. So Australia is instrumental in what's divinely occurring upon the planet now. And it's all a divine process that is guaranteed, it's ascertained, and we are amidst of the transitioning to that. It began in 2012, the Great Awakening, but also it began then the trials and tribulations, if you wish to refer to, let's say, some of the prophecies, what was written, some of them are correct. But if you're to go back and look from now, you can distinctly, succinctly, clearly, blatantly see that, yes, the prophecies were in fact true. It's what's playing out, but it's for good things. So there is no Armageddon, if you will say. The old world ended in 2012, and that's actually when the new began. And from 2012 to 2019 was a period of trial and tribulations for every individual that was upon the planet. Their acts and deeds were judged, but they were judged by their acts in their deeds. So there is no per se higher creator or being that judges the individuals. They actually judge themselves, and they had a chance with it. And that period ended in 2019. It decided by the ones that chose to remain in the darkness that they would be separated, because all of their deeds are in their history of what they did. So they stay behind while the others rise and go forward. There's many different, there's several different perspectives of this that you can have, but this is what's occurring. One thing, when they mention a rapture, if you will, in scripture, that's what's occurring. A rapture is an upliftment, and energetically, all are being uplifted that made the right choices. They judged their self where they would be at, and they judged their future by the things they did in the now, when they had the chance, the important tribulation period. So it's all unfolding perfectly. And, when you look at all of the incontestable evidence and documentation on, let's say, the agenda, it's all very real what occurred, and no one can refute that. There's no possible way. So as every day goes by now, you see more and more destructible evidence of the old paradigm, of the ones that held it up, the governments, the oligarchs, and what have you. So it's all happening, and you can see it.
And just to add to that, the timeline that you spoke of, 2012 to 2019, I can tell you just from my own personal experience. Now, you and I have never had this conversation before, with the time period of 2019 being really where I guess you could call it the beginning of where we're at right now. 2019 for me was when I really felt the shift from that 2012 to 2019 thing. That it was kind of like the chapter, that chapter ended, or that testament ended, and now we're into where we're at now. And 2019, if we look back at it near the end, what happened? The Epstein thing came out, and then shortly after, the COVID thing, and now we're where we're at. And I truly believe that shift, that upliftment, the raising of the vibration, the evidence in the outer world of that happening in all of our inner worlds is that something came to light that they wanted to keep hidden with the Epstein thing, and it kind of just snowballed out of their control to the point where now we have this whole COVID thing to kind of put it back in the box, if you will. But it's already too late. The sun has already risen. And 2019 was definitely that point in time where a lot of souls really kind of stepped into their mission, stepped up to the plate, so to speak. 2019, right in the end of it, in November of 2019 was when this idea for Omniversal Media just kind of dropped into my mind, a fully formed idea with a way to kind of override and render obsolete all of our current media that we have, to bring in just a higher vibrational oversight into it all, to kind of come and say, look, there are higher divine laws and divine order to all of this, and we're no longer going to play on this field here. We're not even talking about universal laws. We're talking about something far beyond that, something much more simple as the sun rising, as I spoke before. We were really kind of prepared for it, I think, from 2012 until 2019. And 2019, it shifted from being prepared for this time period to really stepping into it. And I don't know about how you have foreseen the unfolding going forth, but you said the word Armageddon, and it made my mind go to the word apocalypse, and it reminds me of this book series that I'm currently in the process of writing, titled The Unveiling, because I really feel like moving into 2022, things are going to continue to be unveiled even more so, in realms of full disclosure coming about. And just for me, the date code, the time code, if you will, is that 2022 is when we step into, I guess, the next level, or the next chapter in the book. And I want to go back briefly to the GPMS thing, and just anybody out there that might be questioning that Rick said, we don't even really need the banks. How would this, how would this work in all practicality? And I want to just point out the fact that there are already methods and ways to bring this into a practical reality. And I've noticed that you've mentioned it somewhere, things like Ripple and XRP. And if you look deeper into that, you can see that the foundation of that is tied in every which way with the world banking system as a method of currency transfer that is far superior to what we have currently. And I really feel like 2022 is going to be the next level of everything that we've witnessed transpire from 2019 until now. I want to continue on with with your post here. It goes on to say the people cannot be stopped because they are fully supported by the omnipotency of Creator, their own divinity, and other benevolent assistance against an evil that is truly no match and is powerless. The actual energy created by those joining the protests was felt, and it was known that it is real and a powerful force. The verdict has been read out loud for all politicians, mainstream media, and their cohorts, with their sentencing already begun. There is no redemption from their insidious, malevolent deeds. One must know that when good intent, energetic unity occurs in the physical as well as through electronic communication, a force is created that is stronger than any evil and perseveres. The more often and bigger this unity becomes, the quicker that good change is realized and created. Nothing can stop it. Being connected to one another through communication and physical, with the one common goal for oneself and humanity as a whole, is what gets it done, not separation. Separation is dark tactics to divide and conquer. Be wise and know it takes the unity, and how powerful that unity of good heart is. The quicker and more frequent that you unite, it changes reality. It is what you came here to do, and the dominant light energy fully supports this to lift humanity out of the savagery. So Rick, what do you see as we close out this chapter, so to speak, and move into 2022? What do you see unfolding or being unveiled?
Yeah, well, what I see happening currently is that everything has exponentially sped up. So every day and every moment, there are such significant things occurring that with this, I love to say, with the GPMS, what the people are creating with the new money system, the new monetary system, this could be done in 2 days if the banks and the governments had humanity's interest in mind, just to use money as a good tool. Because in reality, money is limitless. Our value has no limit. It's infinite, and it's absolutely preposterous, insane, nonsensical, ridiculous, and all of those other like adjectives why humanity should be suppressed and controlled by money. So again, the opposite things can be very quickly done. Now, with your your question, what you asked, in lines with GPMS, it is growing. It grows as the old implodes. So there's a process that's occurring energetically as well. So once ones are also ready energetically, then they can see the real hope. But what we have right now is that the majority of the world are at that threshold. They're fighting, they're confused, they don't know a lot of the things of what's coming yet, but GPMS is right here for all of them. So all they need to do is just, as you mentioned before, just take the focus off of fighting an old reality and just put the focus on the new. And this is happening organically with it. So where things are happening just exponentially so quick, every day with doctors and nurses walking off the job, police forces, and I don't even see this going, lasting for months. The chaos that is currently in or currently happening. What I do see is it could even be just a matter of days from now when all of the old collapses. So we have the reality for humanity in place. It's not a false hope. It is the reality as we all join together and create it. So it's divine. It's a divine process, what's occurring. And again, it is all ascertained. It's imminent. It's imminent to the degree that it can be done in the blink of an eye. And it's inevitable, and it does occur. And when I was divinely instructed to put the GPMS template out, I believe in December of 2020, I think December 17th. When I first put that out, the world at time, I said in 2 months, this can be achieved, the inception of the disbursement of money to everyone. And today I remain adamant. In 2 months or even less, we can achieve this. So again, the duration, even though I say it's imminent, the time depends upon the people to, when they're able to see it, when they're able to spread the awareness and let everyone know of the choice that they have. They don't need to ask permission from governments what they're allowed to do or what their rights are. The rights are intrinsic. It's written within each one's heart, what is morally, ethically correct, and of course, what is love, what is harmonious, what is good for all. So, and we know these things.
And speaking more, to add even more evidence or proof to the divine alignment of all of this, you mentioned the date, December 17th, 2020. My birthday is quite literally December the 18th. So yeah, another one of your posts that I have here, and by the way, anybody who's watching this, if you're on Facebook, I'm not sure if he has any other platforms, but go and look Rick up. We'll put a link down here for you. But another one of your posts says, as co-creators, I save these posts, by the way, because it's good information. As co-creators, when we inject truth into the lower timeline, it expedites its implosion. And on a I'm sorry, I dropped my phone here. On a song of mine, the title of the song is called "Stay Real," and I say a line in there. I say that we could end this war tonight if we wanted.
Exactly.
And I just wanted to really focus in on what you said there. It could all shift just so quickly. Everything that's going on now with the vaccines and this and that and all of that, that's the old system trying to find something to clutch on to. It's in its death throes, and it's doing everything that it can to try to keep itself in existence. It's getting very loud as it feels comfortable getting. But all of this could end just so quickly. It could shift into something much more organic and authentic.
Well, if I may, it can. However, again, there's a divine process with it on the individual level
Exactly.
at overcoming the fear, to be able to speak the truth and to stand up. And this is an individual process with each one. However, on the energetic level, if we say this is fear, this is a vibration that dictates the current reality. Once we have all of humanity out of a certain state of fear, you rise up in a different layer where it doesn't exist and where all of the harmony and the bliss is. And again, with the GPMS, one of its main functions is to wipe out the monetary stress immediately. And that creates a huge higher conscious upward shift as well when ones have no financial stress anymore. So the fear has to be overcome on an individual level, but all it takes is the ones being suppressed, squeezed, compressed, so that they have no choice but to stand up. And that is what is divinely orchestrated now, because once they make that step and say enough is enough, that changes reality as well very quickly. And it's divinely ensured they do. So right at this very moment, if we look at the blessings that the COVID thing did in depriving all of humanity, for the most part, of their freedoms and their rights, also the money, the sustenance, and what it did, it's been very instrumental in squeezing them down so that they look for something else. And right at this point, all of them are ready to take the step. They just didn't know what direction to go in. And the direction is what we're doing with the GPMS. And it, and with GPMS, as I said, I'm a guardian of one to assure it is an entity now. It is a reality. It is here. We just need ones to transition into it. So this creation is already here, the four ones.
Exactly. And I've had conversations with others here on the podcast about, and I've proposed the question of, how do they view the whole COVID scenario? Do they view it as this terrible thing that we need to look at in a negative light, or do we need to, or are they able to see how beneficial it has been on the collective level of kind of forcing people to open their eyes? And the consensus is that while none of it has been easy or fun to go through, that we can each see on individual levels how it has kind of forced people to stand up, like you were saying. Continuing on with your post here, because now with the vaccine thing here in America, our president has come out and said, if you have over 100 employees, this and that, you have to get vaccinated or blah, blah, blah. And it's really kind of put everybody in a more restrictive position to where they're saying, I really don't want to go and get injected with this thing. There's too much propaganda about it. I don't really need it, this and that, or whatever they believe. But now they're being forced into a position of making a choice of sticking with their principles or bowing down so they can continue to get a paycheck. And so the financial squeeze has elevated itself from, you know, if you're going to work here, you have to wear a mask, to if you're going to work here, you have to get injected with this thing. And it's really kind of, we're at the tipping point now with that here in America. And relieving the financial stress through something such as GPMS is, it's a solution that I think a lot of people don't really realize. They don't realize how much power the finances have over their lives, because the vaccine is still voluntary, but they want you to voluntarily inject yourself so that you have the ability to still feed your family. And I think it's wonderful that there are guardians out there creating and presenting solutions to this to relieve that stress, because once that stress is relieved, and I say that specifically that in that way, once it is relieved, not if we can relieve it one day or this, once it is relieved, then everybody is free to focus their energies somewhere else, into something more organic and beneficial. Continuing on with your post here, you go on to say, in the near future, I anticipate to begin the roundtable discussions online with the other ambassadors of light that are currently upon the planet, where the logistics of the new free society for humanity is shared with all. We have all of the knowing of how the new harmonious system works and how it is easily implemented. This is not some big giant complex thing that we have to build. It's something very simple and divine that's already there that we have to tap into. And that's what I think we're doing here today. I was very energetically excited to connect with you and just discuss this. And I think it's going to be of great value to any who hear it, because it's going to be kind of like an alarm bell ringing within them. They're going to say, this is it. They're saying the things that I've thought, and this is what we're called to do. Continuing on, it is what we came here to do. That's literally the next sentence here. I am sitting here ready for the rest of my divine comrades to awaken to their mission, get their soul's memory restored. See, and it's a remembrance. It's not some new doctrine that you have to learn and put together. It's something that we all have encoded in our DNA even, and we just have to unlock those memories, have the memory restored so that they will join me. There are no dark governments in this new world that we have created. In fact, there are no governments at all. Only people that are sure humanity has and lives in full abundance, freedom, harmony, love, and all things good. Another analogy here is when people ask me, what do you believe? What's your religion or this and that? I say my religion is, I have the same religion as those trees out there. And the Holy Trinity to me is the sun, the rain, and the tree. You have the sun, you have the rain, and then you have the trees, and pretty much everything else happening here is kind of dependent upon that system of natural harmony and balance continuing on. And so the fourth part of that, I guess, would be humanity, the sun, rain, tree, and humanity. And so if the sun is important, which it is, and the rain is essential, which it is, and the trees are literally what keep all of us alive by giving us the ability to breathe. What are we humans who can build these machines and visit the moon and all of this and that? What are we doing? What's our role in that? And I believe it is to be a guardian of this place, because there are many, many, many more life forms here than we, even as humans, can even count or document. We think we have them all, and then we find some new species. We openly admit that we don't even know what all is in the ocean. There's so much life here, and it is our role to ensure that balance is not only now being restored, but that it is maintained. And we cannot do that if we are continually allowing for ourselves to enslave ourselves through just these insane systems of thought that we have created and allowed to propagate themselves for thousands of years. And now we're at the point to where people like you and I are stepping forward and saying, hey, stop. There's another way. We all know there's another way. Join with us, come to the forefront. And if you're hearing this right now and you've been feeling the call to step out and to speak, to step onto your platform, to create your platform, to be there, I encourage you to hear our words here. This is the time. It is now. Don't hide your light under a bushel. There's somebody out there that needs your input. They need your expertise, your guidance, what you incarnated here to bring to the table. It is needed. It's not just an idea in your head. It's not something you dreamed up. Rick put GPMS.world online. He said December 17th, and he's here speaking with me. And I was literally born on December the 18th. So, you know, there's a lot more going on here than just happenstance in your minds right now, and you know that, and that's why you're here. That's why you're listening. And I'm going to give the floor back to Rick here for a minute. Just anything that you want to add in here. Just go ahead and speak.
Yeah, thank you. You know, one thing, we can look at GPMS as a worldwide vote. So what you're voting for is the old system, what you have now, or the new, what is contained within GPMS. And so let's say right at this, there is a voting going on right now, and the quicker the voting gets done, once you look at the GPMS, the majority of the planet's going to want it, so it's already a done deal. But it's the time that it takes for the ones to get their vote in, and the quicker you get it in. So that's what's occurring. And again, as we said, it's all divinely ascertained, and it's organic in its construction and flow. It grows this way. So there's many ways you can look at this, as a vote, as a petition, as just an energetic support. But it does require everyone going to the website and putting their energetic imprint in there, be it a signature, a happy face, just as long as you draw something in the signing box, if you will. We call it a signing box, but it doesn't need to be a signature, just an energetic imprint. You could put in a check mark if you wish. And but it is important that we get this out, because also the more of the voice, the bigger the voice gets with this, the more of the energetic impact it has upon imploding the old. As I said, once we get this awareness spread out that people have a choice, this voice goes viral. Anyone that sits down and takes, 30 minutes or maybe an hour, if it takes an hour, and in a calm place, and just look at what is in the website, and it becomes there is no other choice that anyone would want. It is divinely perfect, and it is heaven, if you will, that we're going to create upon the planet and restore the pristine Gaia, the planet as well. So everything is contained within it. And having said that, we have presently about 10,500 consents, a little bit more than that. And out of that, we also have approximately 1,000 children under the age of 19 has also given their consent. Now, this is important as well, because what I wish to say, for the most part around the world, any child was not allowed to vote unless they're around the age of 18 or over. With GPMS, a parent, which is the guardian, if the child is 1 second old and born, their name, their consent counts the same as the vote from a parent. So, having said this, it's the children's future that we are creating here as well. and they have a say in it if they're only 1 second old. So anyone signing up, all of your children, if you're a guardian, you can sign for them. And having said that, we've had, to my knowledge, children as young as 7 years old understood what GPMS meant and signed on their own accord. So in reality, that's how simple it is. And when you look at some statistics worldwide, under the age of 18, there's approximately 2 billion children worldwide that never had a voice before. Now they do, and that's a substantial number. So these are just some of the things about GPMS, and anyone visiting, if you're having difficulty of making a choice, we have a comparison chart. I believe it's called now the old versus the new. And you can see very quickly when you look at that why everyone would choose the new, what it is, what we create all together. This is the thing, you don't have the less than 1%. Actually, now it is less than 1 million upon the planet that were governments and oligarchs, if you will, that were dictating how humanity must live. So that number is very, very small, and it's absurd that 7.5 or 8 billion people must listen to less than a million that is taking everything away from them in the past. So it's a absolute nonsense again.
It is. Another line from another song of mine. The title of this one is Mind Control. It says, your war against humanity is insanity, friends. I've returned once again with all of my kin, and that's 7 billion souls reincarnated to end.
Wow.
And I use the hashtag reincarnated to resist. And I know a lot of people, they want to say that they don't understand it, but deep within them, they know that they're not living through these times just by happenstance.
Absolutely. Yeah. Nothing is by chance. Yes. This has all been divinely written, if you will. And what we're actually doing is playing the roles here in the material realm. So we have the script, it's already within each. And, you said something earlier that when you began this programming here to set it up, it just came to you. Well, my perspective is it was divinely timed. You already knew it here in your soul, and it was just released. Okay, boom, Ethan, it's time to do this, right?
Yeah, like you mentioned earlier, with the time coding, it was right at the end of 2019, and then there it was. And you mentioned how this is an individual journey, and everything that we're going through is an individual process. And in my own individual process, I processed through all of what I needed to up until that point, so that when the time came, the idea, which was already fully formed and there, I was able to kind of open up that book and see what was written. Speaking of that, in 2009, I actually completed the book in 2013, so right at the start of that 2012 timeline. And this is actually on the website, omniversalmedia.com. Scroll down to the bottom. It's a fictional tale, but it's a book. The title of it is The Beginning, book 1 of the Nightfall series, and it begins with a poem that's right in line with all of what you just said. It says, "The end was set. We all were there before, when all that is was yet. And so we watched as nothing stopped, the beginning where we all met. And that's how the book begins. So
Beautiful.
if you're interested, go and check it out. But the point here is not so much to call attention to my book, but so much as it is to bring attention to what is being communicated in that poem that I put at the start of it, which is directly in line with all of what Rick just said.
Mhm. Yeah, indeed. They're all messages as well, and they all pertain to this now. And on the individual level, as ones began to go through the process and awaken more and more, they recognize the signs, and that everything does indeed occur for a reason. And as we keep going forward in time now, they're seeing this more and more, and the confirmations are abounding. It's not fantasy, it is very real. The signs are in the skies everywhere. The skies are on the ground for those who have the eyes to see, and it's very real. And as ones begin to awaken to the ability to see, they will see it as well. And we do not impose upon ones that cannot see. When they're open and ready, they come and they see it themselves, and very quickly they receive their own confirmations to override the logical subconsciousness, and to know more about creation and about how things really work, and to also know more about themselves, their individual power, and the reason that they are upon the planet at this time. There is the reason, there is the purpose, there is the mission.
Do you have any kind of practices that you could present to people, that they could practices or techniques that they could use to tap into that inner field of opening their eyes and utilizing their innate giftings, tapping into those soul codings? Do you have any advice for anyone who may be listening, that's kind of saying, okay, I get what you're saying, how do I tap into that? I really want to dive into it. I don't want to sit here and pretend like the message is not connecting, but I want to connect even deeper with my own messages that are coming out.
Right at this time, I would believe awakeningjournals.com is a website we had set up for ones to share their stories, their most profound, miraculous periods. But contained within there, on that website, is a toolbox as well, where I put out some of the teachings and some of the procedures to assist with ones. And just today, before we did the show, Femke, my divine partner, and I, we just did a very short 7-minute video just showing ones how to actually anchor in the 5D energetic grid, of which is occurring worldwide by individuals on Monday, September the 20th. And this is a very important divine ability. So, but it's things like this, some of the old modalities and instruction at empowering and enhancing were already here. And there's also some refined techniques that I mention as well in the teachings. And also there are some things in the teachings that I mentioned that I don't think they were written upon the planet, because they also, when it's time, as humanity raises in vibration, then there is more of the modalities, the techniques, and more of the knowledge that presents. So as it keep raising up in frequency and consciousness and vibration, then there are new things coming all the time to assist.
And that was awakeningjournals.com.
Yeah, awakeningjournals.com, I believe it is. Yeah.
Right. So I would just encourage everyone that is going through this to connect with others who you connect with. Don't be afraid to reach out to them, because chances are the response that you're going to get is, I was waiting for you. You're finally here. Nice to see you again. There's so much going on beneath the surface energetically that sometimes it's hard to verbalize it, because the communication is taking place on that energetic level, and you need those frequencies of each other, the unifying synchronization of your energetic output along with others, sort of just amplifies everything. And as Rick has said multiple times, it causes the implosion of the current, or rather it's quickly becoming the former paradigm. It expedites that process. And whether it is, of course, I personally would encourage you to meet up in the physical if at all possible. But if not, if that's not possible now, what you can do is you can have your own Zoom call. It doesn't have to be recorded. It doesn't have to be on a podcast. It doesn't have to be anything other than you just connecting one-on-one with the other soul. And you're going to not only amplify your own vibration, you're going to uplift theirs as well. And it's kind of like you're going to walk away from it with this energetic glow, and everybody else that you come in contact with, they're going to feel it on either a subtle level, or it may be very apparent in their face. You may have a stranger come up to you and divulge some private aspect of their life, and you walk away from the conversation wondering, what was that about? Why did they just? And it's because they could see that energetic shift, that light coming from you, and they felt safe in your presence. Once you connect with your home frequency, it's kind of like everywhere you go, you carry that home frequency with you, and you invite others into the space of their own home frequency. And then this planet becomes it transitions from being a prison planet, which is what they keep trying to make it seem like in the overlay. It transitions back into that heaven on earth experience, because what we're talking about here is not creating a new heaven on earth. We're trying to remind our souls of what this place actually is, what it used to be, this paradise of a planet with all of these different various life forms. The reason that plans and ideas like GPMS works is because it's tapping into a grid that's already in existence. We're just amplifying it. They've switched on their 5G towers to try to keep their reversal grids in place, but we're anchoring in 5D grid work here that, like the sun, the darkness cannot overpower it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's omnipotency of it. What I wish to say again, what you touched on, thank you. The unity is so important. So as we mentioned, the strength in numbers, that is much more powerful than it ever was. And one of the reasons when two come together, as you're strongly suggesting and strongly suggesting and encouraging, when two of you come together like-minded, you begin to activate each other, and you set off a chain reaction of knowledge and energy that, as you say, it uplifts both. Now that's when two comes together, but the more that comes together, the more it adds, because each one has pieces of knowledge and pieces of the puzzle within them. The whole divine game here upon the planet has been orchestrated that everyone had a piece of information. And it's like playing a video game. So, but the only way out of the reality is the unity coming together. So when everyone comes together, your consciousness is uplifted. Then from your heart, from your knowing, also more of the knowledge comes, and you began to create and compile a huge knowledge base that was not here before, because you're accessing the higher divine knowledge base of creation as well. And again, the way out of the matrix is through unity, because each one has a piece, and it was divinely designed that way by all of us, that it takes the unity to do it. So coming together, you become more empowered, you become more uplifted, more of your parapsychological gifts are turned on, your telepathy increases, and your clairvoyancy, all of your clairs, what have you, with the parapsychological gifts, and you confirm it to yourself how powerful you are. But it's not to be, sitting in a closet somewhere all in solitude. You go nowhere. And this is also why the darkness wanted to separate. And, within, well, I won't take that route, but again, it's the unity. So together is what changes everything on the small inner scale and the reflected outward in your world. So it takes the unity to create the harmony, so you don't have all of the discord and the chaotic beliefs and all of these lesser restrictive beliefs and things that can keep you off there, keep you stagnant, or what have you.
And and I just want to bring attention to the fact that as you further unify, you will begin to see how unified the opposition is in ensuring that you are isolated, and that they, for instance, online, if you are speaking of things that are anti-narrative, you may be censored, you may be banned, you've violated community standards, this or that. But once you begin to unify others, that's when they really begin to try to shut you down, because that's what they're essentially trying to do. The whole gist of everything that they're trying to do is to keep everybody scattered in confusion. It's like the story in the Bible about the Tower of Babylon, and didn't like what was being put together, so go and scatter the language, make it so that no one can understand one another. And so now what do we have online in the online forum? Oh, this is fake news, this is fact checked, here's the narrative that we want you to all get in line with. But they don't really want you to get in line with the narrative. They just don't want you to put together your own collective understanding of what is happening. And not so much that they don't want you to understand what their game plan is. They don't want you to formulate your own game plan. They don't want you to be able to communicate effectively with one another, to not get lost in this narrative or that narrative. They want it to just be psychological chaos, because then you can't tap into those parapsychological giftings and work together, the telepathy that you mentioned. As long as they can keep you distracted with surface level things, then you're never able to see what is truly possible. And that's really the only card that they have at the table. It's the only move that they have. And so just don't be deterred by that. Don't let anyone silence you, but more so, don't let yourself remain silent. Don't You go up to the mountain to pray, yes, but then come back down with what God has said. Don't stay there and meditate until the end and just kind of waste your time here, because again, that's not what you're here for. That's not what you're here to you've reincarnated to resist the regime, if you will. And why? For the same reason that the trees keep us breathing. Why do the trees grow? Why do they produce fruit? Why does the sun shine and the rain fall? It's for the benefit of the whole. It doesn't produce fruit for itself. So likewise, let your fruit produce and then distribute it to any and all who may need it, because that in turn generates wealth and abundance within them. And I'm speaking spiritual riches here, and it allows for them to produce good fruit as well.
Mhm. Yeah, what I'd like to say with the censoring, the tactic of the one of the tactics of the darkness, that does not work and did not work for them as well. So all of their attempts is in vain and it's futile. And but the beauty of them censoring, the truth, it only substantiated much more truth for the people to show those that were not awake. So it always works in the favor of the light. And with this great awakening and purveyance of the truth information behind the scenes, the let's say what they would call the alternative media is actually the mainstream media where all the truth is. And it is happening, and nothing could stop that. Again, nothing can stop the people. And by word of mouth, by messages, it all got around. And I love to say the majority of the world right now is informed. So all it did was, expose them more. And what I also need to say, there is a divine plan that is occurring upon the planet, which is omnipotent, and it is absolutely ingenious. So it is the utmost brilliance. And when you look at the darkness, they are only here in the fourth dimension, and they are quarantined to it because of what they are. But having said that, we are not. We are limitless to dimensions to infinity. So again, it does not matter with any of their tactics. It's always overridden by the darkness. I'd like to use an example when we were speaking with one of the head organizers with the Police for Freedom International in the Netherlands. He said they were jamming our phones, intercepting our emails, cutting out our communication when we were organizing the protest in the recent past. But he said, by word of mouth, when we got on the streets, the crowds grew and grew. The people knew it. And soon as you come close to the people, you could feel that huge energy that was unstoppable. And even though there were lines of police, without any fear, they just walked right through the police. There was no aggression. And that's important to state, because what they want, if they can get you in a fear state, which is aggression, then they began to control you. But if you know your divinity and your full power and do not resort to fear, nothing can stop you. And they're all seeing this now, all that are awakening and the right way to do it. So
It eventually transforms into, with that unity code, it eventually transforms into the those who would stand in opposition, whether it's police or this or that. they themselves, because they are individual souls incarnate here, they themselves begin to wake up and they lay down their weapons. They join, for lack of a better way of phrasing it, they join your side of the equation. They stop standing in your way and they join with you, and then suddenly there's nothing to fight against.
Absolutely. And so everyone, at this level understands that you're an electrical, energetic being as well. You have an energetic field. And during the teachings, this is why it's so important to keep your field positive. Keep it absent of fear as well. Because if you have fear and negativity within your field, you actually attract that. But when you have no fear and know of your divine strength and is positive, in reality, no police can come and attack you, because everything is physics and is energy. And if they come to attack you, very quickly they are repelled, because opposites repel and like attracts. So you can use the simple physics analogy to know where your real power is.
From my website here, Omniversal Media, our podcasts are designed as catalysts meant to trigger the original divine blueprint within your soul and bring it to the surface. We seek to activate your latent DNA codons, initiating your higher sensory perception to ensure that you come to know your true self via direct experience, dispelling any doubts you may have about why your soul is here with us in this present incarnation. We are implementing Aurora override re-encryption protocols. We seek to provide you with the tonally encrypted vocal codings necessary to reactivate your latent DNA patterning through the information sets contained within the podcast. welcome back. I do believe.
Thank you. There we go. There we are.
Well, got disconnected there briefly, but that's fine. I took the opportunity to actually go outside and see the day and actually partake in some tobacco.
Mhm.
Just listen to a song. It's called "To Zion," and it's just, I won't go into all of what it speaks on, but it just kind of really focused me in more here. Now, I was reading something that's on my website here, omniversalmedia.com. I'm not sure what the last part that you heard was, but I'm just going to repeat this paragraph here. It says, our podcasts are designed as catalysts, meant to trigger the original divine blueprint within your soul and bring it to the surface. We seek to activate your latent DNA codings, initiating your higher sensory perception to ensure that you come to know your true self via direct experience, dispelling any doubts you may have about why your soul is here with us in this present incarnation. We are implementing Aurora override re-encryption protocols. We seek to provide you with the tonally encrypted vocal codings necessary to reactivate your latent DNA patterning through the information sets contained within the podcast. And I really can feel that in this episode specifically, that is exactly what people are receiving, not only through the things that I have said, but definitely through the things that you have said, Rick.
Yeah, thank you so much. You know, I looked at that particular excerpt on the website the other day, and I said how perfect, because it is true as well. Within my voice and within my being, there is energetic codes that is transferred, as we said, and it's very real. And earlier in the show, you mentioned, you know, being in the physical proximity is where a lot more of the energetic and activating codes are transferred. And these energetic codes is what we call ascension codes, and it activates the crystalline process, and it also activates within ones if they have something that needs to be cleared. It will surface in their reality. And you know, with I, then I will say, you know, after meeting I, you may have a few tests, but I will give you the answers to quickly overcome those energetic tests so that, you know, you uplift as well. So with Femke and I, we carry the higher energetic creator codes, and we do have effects not only on individuals, but also on large geographical areas. And without going too far in depth, this was recorded scientifically, our effect, the atmosphere in Croatia when Femke and I was there less than a year ago, I think it was. And yeah, it was documented and observed scientifically what we do with the atmosphere. So yeah, it's very real, and we do.
It is. What we do is we create these energetic imprints, and it ripples out from that onto the electromagnetic field that we exist in. And it's, a lot of people think it's just woo-woo spiritual information, but it's actually the physical reality is shifted, especially when we come together and we're intentional about it. And this is the thing that truly shifts the psychological landscape for people, if you will, because it happens on that more subtle, energetic, electromagnetic, quantum level. and it kind of clears the collective psychological field, so that what is laying there below the surface can come into fruition. It's kind of like we're clearing space where we're conditioning the air around people, if you will. And I'm definitely feeling that and connecting with you here. And I know that those who see this episode will also experience the same thing. For those who are able to watch the video recording, I think it will be even more amplified for them. Because like we said, in the physical, if you can't meet up in the physical, doing it through video adds even more to that than just the audio. Though it is contained also in of course, the vocalizations of these codes. It gets through even just through text, just from reading your posts, this and that. And I know that I have put information out there in various places that have people have connected with it as well. And that's really what we're here to do, is to bring a remembrance of what we truly are back to the collective. Because in the same way that when one cuts their hand, for instance, the body just naturally restructures itself, it heals itself. You don't will it to happen, you don't force it to happen. It's just something that naturally happens. And I think that as more and more souls remember who they are and come back to themselves, that is how humanity collectively heals the fracturing and the split that is taking place here. It happens organically. You've mentioned that several times in our chat, the organic nature of these unfoldings. And it's really beautiful. In fact, the real reality that we're trying to focus everybody's minds in on here is the miraculous realm where the sun shines down and the rain falls and the trees grow, and sometimes they produce fruit that we can eat and we can all breathe, and that's a miracle in and of itself. But with humanity existing within that miraculous, organic, authentic reality, which is the true reality, life just becomes something that I can only term as the beauty. And in this world, you have either seen the beauty and you do your best to exist there, or you don't know what I'm talking about when I refer to it as the beauty. But it's just the beauty of life and its unfoldment and existence in and of itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, indeed. While you were speaking, I was thinking of science, how they are keeping up amazingly well now with, let's say, the metaphysical light communities and what have you, what they have been saying. So you see the light communities going forward, but you see science paying attention to prove what the light communities always knew. And one substantial thing that I saw science do, they did an experiment, I believe, that they took some human tissue alive or what have you, and they separated it by 1 mile. And I believe any of the viewers can look online this experiment. And when they probed some cells of this tissue in a lab, they were monitoring the effects of the tissue a mile away, and it also responded. So it shows you with that experiment that yes, there is that energetic link that you cannot see. And in this most glorious, auspicious, unprecedented time, all are being introduced to, let's say, the supernatural layers, which are very real, and they are part of creation. But in the case I just mentioned, you have science establishing the factual information, integrating it into the timeline. So you're compiling that database of the higher knowledge, and Also, you are beginning to understand more of the mysteries of life and eradicating a lot of the mystery out of it and changing the mystery into the knowing, which is absolutely true. And it's confirmed, and every day. I believe I saw one other paper by the scientific community that right at this point, I believe they said they can prove that the consciousness lives for all time, or that at least once the humanoid vessel is dead, that the consciousness lives on. What I wish to say, that is absolutely true. We never die. We exist for all time. It's just a transformative state, if you will. And the consciousness, again, we exist for all time. For us, there is no time, for we can travel to any time in an instant. So that eradicates any restrictions of time, but also space. And this goes into the multi-dimensional abilities of ones that are being activated with their crystalline process, with their Merkabas and their Kundalini energy, which is the same. It is their light body. And also this is being documented. And I don't know how far it has entered the light or the science community yet, but it is known facts, and many of us can attest to it upon the planet that it is very real, that it is occurring.
Yeah, with the quantum entanglement that you were speaking about with the tissue experiment from miles and miles away, that is a scientific documentation of how and why synchronicity is not only real, but how it occurs. You become quantumly entangled with things within that consciousness, that soul, that eternal aspect of yourself, which transcends time and space. And that is why you can hear someone that you don't know say something so very personal, and your ears translated in such a way that it's just so synchronistic that it seems almost as if it's a thing that exists only in fantasy, but it's realer than real. And that's the beauty that I was talking about, that you don't have to walk around wondering, oh, am I crazy? Is this really happening? Because as we just stated, the scientific community studying quantum mechanics and this and that, they've proved quantum entanglement of human tissues and various other things. And then you step into the aspects of it where time doesn't exist, and then you can say, oh, that's why. For instance, I'm not really surprised that December 17th was the date that you think you brought the GPMS online, and then I say, oh, well, my birthday is December the 18th. Why? Because we planned it this way. We planned it this way long ago, or in the future. And it's just really, when you view it from this lens, it's truly a beautiful tapestry that we've all woven together here. And that realization really kind of removes a lot of the potentiality for fear to even exist or enter into the equation, because it's not some unknown. It's just simply something that you have to refamiliarize yourself with, because there are parts within us that already know that these things are true and real. That's why when you're a kid, you don't sit there and question this and that. You believe in all of these fantastical things. Why? Because you already know before your mind is conditioned that there's no reason why these things couldn't exist this way. And then we grow up and our minds are conditioned by life, if you will, to this isn't real, that's not real, follow the science. What does the science say? The science leads back to saying quantum mechanics is too weird for us to understand, other than to just accept that reality is a lot more fluid than we were led to believe.
Mhm. Yeah. So yeah, as you said, the children with the purity and the innocence are closer to the magic, and then it's programmed out of them in the past. However, with the new children, as you're seeing today, they are not.
The programming doesn't take
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah. You know what Orthodox medicine does not understand, and what they label as ADD, ADHD, these sort of things. It's just the child knowing that, let's say certain things in school no longer apply to the future, and there's no need, to learn that as well.
And they
And
they kind of psychically know that and feel that, and so they're saying, no, 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 I don't need that. I'm not going to need that. Well, how do you know, little one? I just know. And then they rebel against the system because they're not really rebelling. They're just kind of saying, yo, you're not in tune with what I'm in tune with what's really going on here. And it's just it's
so
so
the ignorance of the medical field, they say, oh, there's something wrong with them. We got to give them a drug, and, just to make them sicker. But it's the ignorance of the medical field and what have you. So, but the children are fine, and they are breaking through. And, in the recent last let's say perhaps less than a year, Femke and I, when we traveling around, we are beginning to meet more and more children that are, let's say, their Merkabas are activated. Their energetic prowess is just so impressive. And so we've been meeting some of the near future generation that assures and carries the new world forward and advances it. So they're already here, all prepared. It doesn't matter what perspective you look at it, that they're star seeds or what have you. But the fact is, they're already here. The geniuses within the children. And I love when I see some of them immediately, that they're an old soul incarnated, and their knowledge is vast, and and their powers and their abilities to tap into it, to know it's real. It cannot be robbed from them, and divinely it's ascertained that it is not.
Well, Rick, thank you for being on here with me. I'm going to bring this to a close, but I'm just very grateful that you decided to come on here. I think the information that you shared is extremely valuable, especially the gpms.world. I encourage everybody to at the very least, go and check that out. Because this is how we begin. These are the practical steps that we take to begin to ensure that the world, that these souls, these children that they just spoke of, have a much different world to operate in. And we can either begin the process now and set that up for them, or we can have all of our systems that we have right now washed away when they take the reins. So we either get with the program, the organic program, the organic ascension timeline, or we sit on the back burner and watch it happen before our eyes, because it is happening as we speak. Rick, how can people find you online other than gpms.world? I know that you're on Facebook. Are you on any other platforms?
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook as Rick Jors. I am also on Telegram. It's a Rick Jors official channel that I recently started.
And they can find that through your Facebook, a link for that.
From time to time, I put the link on Facebook, but primarily Facebook, and I've maintained the presence there for important reasons. You know, the light was not being censored and pushed out of Facebook, and it was important because of the almost, I believe, 2 billion Facebook people, and you know, we needed to maintain a light presence there. But for the most part, Facebook is the best place. Yes.
All right. Well, Rick, thank you again for showing up. And once we are ready to do these broadcasts live, I will definitely be in contact with you. I want to have you back on the show. Thank you again. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, and I would love this. Yeah, as sooner we get the word out, the better, you know, it is, because things are happening right now as we speak. So that is great. So thank you so much, and Hawkeye, and have a beautiful day. And I really enjoyed this, and thank you, all of your viewers and listeners, and let's do this all together. It's here, it's real, and quicker we get together, the quicker it's done. You know, it's enough of the old.
Indeed. All right, sir. You have a great day.
You as well. Love, light, much gratitude. We'll speak soon.
Bye.
Thank you.
How wonderful and strange it is. Faces of a human race, deciding who will pull the reins in the game, desire to play God. Thoughtful hearts will guide the world. Health will not be bought and sold. Trusting that the